I am the lead instructor over at Vue School, and before I joined the Vue School team, I was a full stack developer for roughly 10 years, and so I get to play with all of the latest and greatest cool things coming out for Vue School, which I really enjoy, but also pull on my experience that I had doing dev full-time, like a lot of you probably do as well. So that's just a little bit about where I'm coming from. I'm also a husband and a father of 3 children. And my middle child, my daughter, started playing softball this year, and I'm getting to coach her, and I consider it almost as much of a pleasure to coach my daughter in softball as to get to speak at awesome events like that, like this. And I'm not belittling this event by any means whatsoever. It's really awesome to be a part of my daughter's life that way. But anyways, that's not what you're here to talk about. Thank you. But we're going to be talking about migrating from Vue CLI to Vite. Okay. First of all, though, what is the right button to push? What is Vue CLI, or what is Vite? Okay, some of you might not have heard of it yet. If you have not, let me tell you what you are in for a treat. Vite is the next generation of front-end tooling, and this is not my words. This is from the Vite docs. Okay, the reason they say that is because they aim to provide a leaner and faster development experience. So why is that needed? Well, let's take a quick look at the current state of development. Perhaps some of you are already on Vite, and this isn't your current state. But I'm talking to all of those who have not made the switch yet. Okay, so you come into the office or your bedroom, wherever you're at now, and you are ready to start hacking away at some code. But the first thing you have to do is start up your development server, right? We're working locally mostly these days. Nobody's FTPing into something, testing things out, and right. Okay, good. So you start up your development server. And then you wait, and you wait a little bit more, and then you go onto Twitter, and you check some messages, scroll through your feed, and then you come back, and finally your development server is ready to go. Now, for some of the smallest Vue CLI projects, this isn't the case, right? But for some real-life Vue CLI projects that are larger scale, this certainly can be a real pain, right? Not only, though, is it the initial start times, but sometimes you've got the development server up and going, and now you're ready to make that first change. Well, as soon as you do, it takes upwards of 20 seconds to actually see it reflected on the page. Okay. Once again, this doesn't apply to all Vue apps, but some of the larger ones. I was talking to just someone yesterday, said it took their app 30 seconds to see any updates. It's just not good. It's not just a time thing, right? We're not talking about just lost time. We're talking about lost focus. Because as soon as you have to wait for your changes to show on the page, your mind jumps and you just can't stay in the flow of things. All right, so this is where Vite comes into the picture. All right, super Vite. This is how I like to see it, right? Because for Vite, we're talking about dev server start times that are in the milliseconds as opposed to the seconds or even sometimes minutes. Okay, we're talking about hot module replacement that is literally instant in most cases. Okay? Now, I know in especially the front-end development world, like fast is the new whatever's new or old. I don't know what. It's a big deal, right? Everybody talks about things being fast nowadays. But this really, truly is a game changer because it's how you work every single day, okay? It impacts how you work every single day. So how does Vite do this? Well, it leverages, first of all, the fact that ES modules are natively supported now in browsers. Okay, and so instead of having to do a bunch of pre-processing to get your JavaScripts bundled up in certain ways and then shipped to the browser, it just leverages ES modules and just ships it directly to the browser. Imagine that, shipping code directly to the browser. Okay, that's what we used to do, right? But anyways, it saves processing power, it saves time. Okay, for those files that the browser cannot handle natively, things like TypeScript files, things like your Vue single file components, it does still, of course, have to do some processing on those, but it uses a different JavaScript bundler under the hood that's based on, or that's written in the Go language, and it's called ESBuild. And as you can see based on this chart here, it is super fast. Okay, compared to Parcel, Rollup, Webpack, it's literally 100 times faster. Okay, and so these two things are are what make Vite so fast. And I don't want to go too much into the specifics of how Vite works, but if you are interested a little bit more on knowing some more of the specifics of Vite, I encourage you to check out this talk by my colleague Alex Kirakidis from Vue School, the founder of Vue School. He gave this talk at Vuejs London a little while ago called How Vite Changes the Game for Vue and Web Developers. So if you're not using Vite yet and want to dive more into it, definitely check out this talk as well. Okay? You can just put it in YouTube. It's one of the first results. All right. We also have a course over at Vue School to learn how to use Vite in the everyday. Okay, I just wanted to mention that because we're going to go now into the migration process. But if you want to learn more about how to actually use Vite, then check out our course here over at Vue School. All right, so how to migrate from Vue CLI to Vite. First of all, I wanted to share with you my process of discovery. How do I figure out the steps that I'm going to share with you next? And I want to share this with you just so you can kind of see the scope of what we're talking about. So the first step I took was I created a brand new Vue CLI project, right? I ran Vue create, blah, blah, blah. I chose some settings that I thought were fairly common to many people in here. Something like I chose Sass, so some kind of CSS preprocessor. I added ESLint in there. So I tried to do a fairly realistic scenario of what kind of tools are included. And then I created a brand new project with Vite. This was accomplished with npm init Vite at latest, right? And I chose Vue as the option for adding the Vue plugin in there, okay? And then I compared the differences between the two of the projects. Now, I completely 100% understand that a brand new Vue CLI project is not a seasoned Vue CLI project, right? It's not one that's existed for the past 6 months or the past 2 years or whatever, okay? So I do expect that once you've gone through these steps, you might have a little farther to go, okay? But all the feedback that I have gotten I wrote an article about this very topic, and I've talked to multiple people about it. I've gotten messages from people about it. Everybody that I've talked to said this process got them most of the way. And many of them said this process got them all of the way, okay? So I just want to say, don't expect to maybe get it 100%, but it's better to start from the 70, 90% than nothing at all. And the bigger takeaway here is that it's about the brevity of the process, okay? I don't expect that everybody leaving here today will remember each of these steps, right? And then go home and migrate based on their memory. The point is, it's not as hard as you might think it is. The point is, this is something you can accomplish in an afternoon, maybe in a day. It's not something that's going to eat up a whole week of development time. And the payoff is worth it, because as soon as you do that for one evening, you're going to start getting the fast development experience every day after that, okay? All right. So if you do want to migrate to Vite and have a step-by-step guide right beside you as you're doing it, this article on Vue School's blog is basically this talk. And you can have it in writing step-by-step and follow it as you go. Okay, so step number 1 to migrating from Vue CLI to Vite is updating our dependencies. We'll start with the obvious ones. That is the Vue CLI, ones that say Vue CLI right there in the package.json file. Included here are Babel, ESLint plugins, blah, 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 the CLI service itself. Boom, we can just totally get rid of those. And I don't know about you, but for me, deleting code usually feels pretty good. So yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about. So this isn't a completely monotonous process. Sometimes there's a little joy to be found in it too, right? All right, so our next step is to take our Sass loader and remove it. So whatever CSS preprocessor you're using, you can get rid of the loader because Vite supports all those CSS preprocessors out of the box. Okay? Now, we do still have to have the CSS preprocessor itself installed. So we're going to leave Sass. All right, the Vue template compiler can also go. This is going to be taken care of. The Vue template compiler is used to compile your Vue templates, right? Your .vue files. So this is going to be taken care of by the plugin for Vite, the Vue plugin for Vite. All right. Next, we get to actually install Vite itself. Exciting moment. It's -d because, of course, it's a development dependency. Now, Vite is a framework agnostic tool. That means it can work with Svelte, it can work with, dare I say, React, it can work with, who knows, it can work with vanilla JavaScript, nothing at all. I don't like React. All right, but that's okay. I'm a Vue guy for a reason, but maybe I shouldn't say that. It's all cool. So we do have to install a plugin for Vue to work with Vite. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. Now, if you are coming from a Vue CLI project that is built on Vue 2, you're going to want this community-driven plugin here, Vite plugin Vue 2. If you have the luxury of starting with a Vue 3 project, you can install the official plugin for Vue. Okay, then I'm going to run npm prune because I have modified my package.json file manually. And yeah, so that brings us to step number 2. So in this step, we're going to be OK with the fact that we are now providing support for modern browsers only. The time has come, OK? And really, you should be OK with that. Okay, this graph that you can see in front of you, it's from Kingax. I'm probably butchering that. But it shows basically that all of the latest browsers for mobile and desktop support ES modules. Okay, and so we're doing pretty good. If you really need legacy support, there is a plugin for that. It's a plug-and-play plugin for Vite. Okay, but we're really going to try to support only modern browsers. Now, technically or practically speaking, this means we can remove Babel. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the babel.config file. I'm going to get rid of core.js and babel ESLint in my dependencies. I am going to go into my ESLint file. I'm going to get rid of the Babel parser there. And while I'm at it, I'm going to change my environment from Node to ES 2021. Maybe there's ES 22 is maybe what I should have there now. But we are working now in this ES module land and no longer in Node land. And I don't know about you, but all these environments always confuse me. 100% honesty there, okay? So having this in here for ESLint to work with my IDE and remind me of these things is a really huge win, okay? So make sure you update that. You also need to install the latest version of ESLint and the latest version of ESLint plugin Vue in order for these settings to work as expected. And then npm prune because we're being crazy and modifying that package.json again. All right, so step number 3 is to add your vite.config file. And this is a file I just copied and pasted from the project that I made with npm init Vite at latest. Okay. And you can see here on line number 4 that we have the Vue plugin being imported. If you were using Vue 2, you have to import it just a little differently there. And then on line 8, it's going to register the plugin. All right, we'll also need to reinstate the @import alias that Vue CLI supported out of the box. Vite, once again, framework agnostic. This isn't a convention in other frameworks necessarily, so we have to support that this way. And that is by the way, the resolve.alias configuration option. Step number 4 is to move the index.html file from public, where it lived for Vue CLI, into the root of the project, the way Vite likes it. You can open up this file then and take all of the placeholder things that are going to be replaced dynamically during build. And honestly, I just didn't see a really big reason to try and support this in Vite. It's not a huge win for me typically. I can just hard code something in there. And yeah, I really haven't lost anything. All right. More importantly, though, you probably need to replace your base URLs with just a slash, so you can directly go to the root of your site this way. Okay. Also, we need to we need to account for the fact that the built files for JavaScript will no longer be automatically injected into our project. Instead, we need to link them in a script tag and point it to our main.js file inside of the source. And also, very importantly, notice that this is the type of module, because in development mode, Vite is using ES modules, importing those things directly into the browser. All right, so step number 5 is to update your scripts in the package.json file. Here we have a serve, a build, and a lint command. They all use the Vue CLI service. That's going to change to a dev, build, and serve command. So notice the convention with Vite for your development server is a different name. It's dev instead of serve. Okay, serve is now used for something different. It's a way to preview your actual built files. And then you can add in lint just by directly calling ESLint. All right, we also need to update our environment variables. Now, the way the files work is actually exactly the same in Vue CLI and Vite, so this is great. We don't have to rename any files, but the way we access those variables is just slightly different. Instead of process.env, now we're doing import.meta.env. All right, next we are prefixing Vue_app to variables that will be exposed to the browser in Vue CLI. In Vite, we're using Vite_ instead. All right, we also need to add the .vue extension in all the places where importing components, because I dare say you weren't adding that extension when you were using Vue CLI. I know I wasn't, okay? But in Vite, it is absolutely required, and we can get around it by setting this setting in vite.config file, but it's actually recommended by Vite that you always include the .vue extension, because it's going to help your IDE make more intelligent decisions and probably in the future help to make your IDE smarter about those files as well. All right, we need to, step number 8, clean up all these magic comments. Granted, they're not doing any real harm there, but they're also no longer doing us any good. So that's things like the Webpack chunk names. Now in Vite, we have the chunk names automatically generated for us based on the file name of the dynamic import. I don't understand why Webpack wasn't doing this already, but maybe it's just beyond me. Okay. All right, so step number 9, enjoy your improved developer experience, right? So that's really how simple it is to move from Vite, or Vue CLI to Vite. And if you got nothing else out of this talk, I really want you to give it a try. If you don't want to go and migrate your project today, start a brand new project with Vite and try it out for a day. And I guarantee you by the next day, you're going to be like, okay, let's do the Vue CLI to Vite migration. Okay? All right. So if you are interested in content just like this, check out our courses at Vue School. We have some really awesome ones. These are some of the latest ones that I've really enjoyed. TypeScript with Vue.js 3. Vite works great with TypeScript. We also have a course on Pina, and it is the global state management solution now for Vue 3 that is recommended. We also have a rapid testing with Vitis course that is coming soon. And let me tell you guys a quick little secret. Anthony Fu's teaching it. Okay, it's going to be super cool. I'm really excited for it. Anthony Fu is the guy who created Vitest, and you've probably seen some of his other works as well. So really looking forward to that course. We also have a number of other great courses as well, too. All right. This is all the people who have contributed in one way or another, not all of them, but some of them, to Vue School, and they would be very happy for you to join the Vue School family. We have a community of 140,000 users, and would love for you to be one of those. We also offer some workshops, both in person and online. We've got a picture here from the workshop we put on yesterday. Had a lot of fun, and just a little side note here, I guess. We've got a special going on just for you guys here at VueConf Berlin for an online workshop for $3,500 for just a one-day workshop, $6,000 for a two-day workshop. But my friend Dan here, who is super large on the right, and he has more information on that. So find him or talk to me at the Vue School T-shirt. Alex, find the Vue School T-shirts, and we can give you more information about that. These are, by the way, just some of the topics for those workshops. Grab some swag, see somebody with a Vue School T-shirt. We've got Pina cheat sheets. We have stickers, all the things. All right, and lastly, but not least, we have some Vue corporate training that we offer now, a package that includes all the things that you see here on the screen, including video courses, workshops, biweekly support sessions, as well as a full database for hiring new Vue.js devs for your team. And check out Nux Nation in November, that we are putting on. And there might or might not be a surprise announcement at that conference. So, all right, y'all, thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate being here with you today.